Hey there, friends of Keto. I'm Heather. This is What's Up Wednesday. Today's topic I'm tackling is all about the kitchen and getting creative. I usually write what I'm experiencing, and this seems to be a running theme for me. The last week has been challenging, to say the least, in the kitchen. I've had everything from zucchini mishaps with not being able to find what I need to zucchini mishaps when I did find what I needed and the tools that I had weren't the tools that I needed to make the dishes. So over on the blog today, I shared my recipe of what happened when I couldn't find zucchini in the grocery store. Not one, but 3 grocery stores. Went to 3 different grocery stores and couldn't find a zucchini. I had everything else for this meal. I was going to make my low-carb spaghetti. I was going to spiralize the zucchini, and it was good. It was done. I didn't have to think too hard. This has been planned and was going to be executed like it normally is without a hitch. Well, the hitch comes when you go to the grocery store and can't find what you need for that very last thing. Like I usually don't buy the zucchini or my produce until a day or 2 before I'm using it. So this was the case. It was actually that night. So in the 3rd grocery store, I had some choices. I could go with a spaghetti squash, but all of them were really small. And if you've ever tried to do a spaghetti squash, it takes a little effort. And to only have a small one to use was not going to work for me. So I decided I wasn't going to do that. And I opted for spinach instead. I committed to the spinach and just knew I was going to make it work. And it did work. It worked fabulously. And this recipe was the creation from desperation of trying to figure out what to do with all the other ingredients. And my tip for you today is don't get caught or bogged down in what the recipe is supposed to be, especially if you're new and you're just getting your keto kitchen skills. You're going to probably start relying on a few tried and true dinners. That's what happened to me. That's what happens to my clients. They kind of get stuck in a rut of certain meals that they fall to. Well, what happens if you can't find the ingredients for those certain things? You need to be adaptable and you need to be kind of fearless. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Dog gets extra food. You can always figure out something else. Maybe you go out to eat if it doesn't turn out well. But more times than not, you'll probably end up creating something that you like. You might not make it again, but at least it'll be edible for that night. And maybe next time you think about, oh, if I added this, if I had this, it would make it really good. This is what's happened to me. I didn't start with these mad keto kitchen skills. I had some ability in the kitchen. I could cook. I could find my way around a kitchen. But I used a lot of Hamburger Helper back in the day and relied on a lot of processed foods. So, really getting creative wasn't my strong suit. I could follow a recipe pretty good, but actually kind of winging it was not something that I was adaptable or willing to do a lot of times. So staying in this keto lane without getting stuck in a rut, or being able to, even if you're making those same meals, maybe switch them up a little bit, maybe change 1 or 2 ingredients and make a whole different dish out of it. That's my encouragement for you. So not only did this happen with this dish that I shared over on the blog today, but yesterday I shared a video from Delish. It was showing the zucchini wrapped enchiladas. This time I did find zucchini. I found them at Whole Foods and I loaded up on them because I'm also grilling out veggies tomorrow. So you got to have the zucchini for the grilled veggies. So last night I've got my rotisserie chicken because I'm doing some corner cutting. I'm trying to figure out a way to do this recipe, keep it keto friendly, and also make it easy on time. Like something that I need more dishes that I can do in 30 minutes or less, like most of us, I'm sure. So I was moving and grooving. I had everything going. I had shredded up my rotisserie chicken. I had everything in the pan ready to go into these zucchini noodles, and I was going to wrap them up and make these enchiladas. Until I started trying to actually make ribbons from the zucchini, and the tool that I had was apparently not the right tool. So I ended up making some really kind of mushy, sort of zucchini-like noodles for about the first 5 minutes, and realized that it was going to take me forever, A, to get through all 4 zucchini that I had, and B, that it really wasn't going to work for holding up. Even if I layered them, that it still wasn't going to hold up for me. So I had to really kind of figure out what I was going to do with this. The meat for the chicken for the enchiladas was delicious. So I knew that I was on the right track with that, and decided to go with a casserole. Instead of spending all this time making them all neat and everything else, I just sliced them as thin as possible, layered them on the bottom, put the chicken mixture on top, and then layered another thin zucchini as a top layer, and then cheese, and then more enchilada sauce. And it was to die for. Now, I will say, when I'm making, most of you know that I have one person in my house that does dairy-free. So when I'm making food, I'm actually making it for a couple people. I've got the teen boys that need extra carbs. So I did have some gluten-free tortillas, and made 4 enchiladas for them to also mix in with the zucchini enchiladas. That's one way I can get the boys to, kind of partake in the healthier version, is offer half carbs and half healthier zucchini noodle enchiladas, and I can get them to go ahead and eat it that way. So I had 1 pan of those. In the big pan, I had dairy-free section for Taryn, for my daughter, and then the rest had cheese and dairy mixed into it. It wasn't pretty, I'm not gonna lie. I watch these videos and these cooking pictures and everything else, and I see how pretty this is supposed to be. And I'm thinking, who's got time to make it that pretty? And either that, or they've got some mad kitchen skills that I have yet to achieve. But for most of us, I'm sure you probably fall into that, I don't really care how pretty it is. I just want it to taste good, and I want it to be easy on time. So that's what this ended up being. When the kids saw it, when my husband saw it, when I told them what I made, there was a lot of blowback. I'd never made it before. This is what happens in my house every time I make something new, is I get a scrunched up nose and a little like, all right. And I'm like, look, you haven't even tried it. You have no idea what it's going to taste like, and you're already giving me grief. How about you just put it in your pie holes and let me know what you think? And last night, that's what happened. I got this huge, resounding yes from everybody. They all loved it. They loved all versions of it. And it will be something I will be making again. This time, I'm not even going to bother trying to make it pretty or do these wraps. I'm going to do it exactly like I did it last night and just roll with it that way. This, again, is being adaptable. And had I gotten stuck in the trying to make it look like what it looked like on that video, I would have been there for hours, and I would have gotten really frustrated. I may have ended up at Target trying to buy another tool to make the ribbons. I didn't do that. And I want you to have wings to be able to expand a little bit and get creative. If you back yourself into a corner, have an out. Figure out how to make it work. If you don't have the abilities yet, staying in your keto lane will force you to get creative. And if you resist that getting creative, you're going to find yourself probably falling back on some foods that you might be trying to give up, or you may just keep reverting to the same old, and that gets really boring, and everybody gets tired of it. Even if it's your favorite thing, eventually you will get tired of it. So get creative. Don't paint yourself into a corner and then give up. Figure a way out. That's how this works. If you are adaptable, you can do this lifestyle and do it for as long and hopefully forever, and not get bored, and find that the more you're doing it, the more creative you get, and the better the food is, and the better everybody is towards you, because they get excited every time something like this happens. I'm still waiting for that to happen in this house. You'd think after 3+ years that maybe I'd get a little bit of leeway with them, that they might actually think that of course it's going to be good because I'm making it, but I don't. But I'm hoping that you get better at your house. So that's it for this week. If you have not checked out the recipe, head over to the blog post. It's beef with spinach and ricotta cheese, and it is to die for. So be fearless. Until next week, take care.